If you're looking to get into the most detailed tarot video series ever regarding your future spouse, stay with me because you're in for something. Hey there, how's it going and how's everyone doing? It's me here, Dion. I hope you're fine and welcome to the Divine. I hope you're in the mood for love because today we will be looking at your spouse. In fact, this is going to be a 4-part video series, and I'm going to tell you this much, it's going to be epic. And just a little disclaimer, I am aware of the fact that some people will get married multiple times in their lifetime. But in this video series, we will always be talking about the one divine partner that you are meant to find, that you are going to last a lifetime with. So your last spouse, so to say, or your first, maybe your first one lasts a lifetime. Who knows? But in these videos, I will be talking about your divine match, the one that you are meant to find and the one that you will find eventually. All right, now let me just explain a little more about this series. In the first part today, we're going to look at the basics. Who are they as a person? Who are you attracting? Who are you meant to find? We're going to look at their past, present, and future. What do they have planned? What are their values? We're going to get into all of that, and we're also going to look at some of their astrology. We're going to look at important planets and signs. I've got all these beautiful cards from the Art Nouveau collection. I just wanted to say thank you once again to everyone who's been donating to my channel. It meant a lot, and this is what the money went into. I bought these 3 beautiful decks. Now, just to give you a little taste of what's still to come, today we'll be looking at their inner self, and in part 2, we'll be looking at their outer self. What do they look like? How can you recognize them? Then in part 3, we're going to get even more specific. It's going to get almost eerie because I'll be telling you about their origins. Where do they live? Where are they from? What is their name? What could it be? And last but not least, in part 4, the last of this series, we'll be looking at your love story in detail. How are you going to meet? When are you going to meet? How's everything going to go down? How's the wedding going to be? And all that kind of stuff you're interested in knowing, because I did ask you guys on my community tab ages ago what you'd like to know about your future spouse. But the requests I received were overwhelming, so I had to split this into 4 parts. So I hope you guys are happy with this decision that I made. And in order to make sure not to miss anything, be sure you're subscribed to my channel so you'll always see the videos on time. So without further ado, let's find out who you will end up with. I want you to choose one of these 4 cards. There's a reason I didn't put anything on them. I want them to be identical so that you can focus on the intuition that you have within you to make this decision, all right? And I can give you some more time if you want. Just pause the video and then head over to the timestamps in the description or on the YouTube chapters. Thank you so much for listening to this TED Talk, and let's get started with the first group. Hey there to everyone who chose the first stack of cards. Welcome to your reading. Let's find out who you're meant to end up with, and let's find out who you are going to marry. So we're going to start off with these tarot cards right there. They represent their energies, what your person is like, their personality, and this deck is simply beautiful, isn't it? We've got the Queen of Wands, the Emperor, the 4 of Pentacles, and the King of Chalices, or Cups. All right, so what I'm getting for you guys right away is the fact that friendship is above everything. Friendship comes first. Before you're ever going to get a chance to get close to this person's heart, you are going to be their friend first, because this person, your spouse, just lays so much importance on the fact that there is an established platonic, like, friendship connection before they allow you inside of their heart. And this is why you're probably going to go on many dates prior to getting affection from them, or to hear them say that they actually love you. And it could very well be the case that they feel something for you right away, but they're not going to tell you because they're going to give this a lot of time. That's what I'm getting. And they are going to make sure that you are the full package, because I'm seeing like a Queen of Wands in here and a King of Cups, and they are going to meet, and they are going to collide, and they are going to go so well together. And they are going to make sure that you're a full package. So either they're a king or they're a queen. and they want to find this type of counterpart, and they don't want to settle for less. And this is a very beautiful connection, because those two people that are coming together here are equally as, let's say, strong and willing to make this work. So the first thing they're going to do is, naturally, they're going to want to find out so much about you, because they are so inquisitive. They are so curious about you and your life and what's happened in your life and who are you as a person. Like, this person genuinely wants to get to know you. They have this sort of inquisitive nature, and they're just like that. When they're interested in someone, they actually want to get to know this person. And before they ever get intimate with you, they're going to want to have this sort of friendship. They're going to want to have this spark, because I'm getting the kind of mindset that what they're thinking is, well, if I'm going to spend the rest of my life with you, or if you're going to spend the rest of your life with me, then I want to be your best friend. I want you to be able to do everything with me. That kind of vibe, that's what I'm getting. And I want to be your ride or die, and I want you to be my ride or die. This person's actually looking for a very serious commitment that lasts a lifetime, because they want to have just this one person, is what I'm getting. And they have a lot of high expectations, and I'm getting that in their work field, whatever they do as a job, they are some sort of boss. Although they're still very young, we're going to get to that, but they are a boss, they are a leader, they have authority, and they've established something in their life where they have a lot of power. So they could be like a business owner, or they could be a boss, they could be leading other people, they could be doing something where they have a lot of authority and they have the say. In their job, they always have the say over what's going on. So they could also be self-employed. Think of anything where they're the leader, they're their boss, you know? They are a very competitive person, and they're also very assertive. If they want something, they are going to get it. They're not going to give up until they get it. Or they're always going to try. Let's put it like that. They're always going to give their best, and they are very, very motivated. In terms of what this person is attracted to, I'm getting that they love when someone is friendly. They love when someone smiles, when they can have a good laugh with someone. They want to experience these kind of positive emotions. I'm getting they want someone cute, like cute boo. That's what they want. They're all about having someone who is adorable, who they find adorable, and that's going to be you. And they want someone who they can call their own, you know? And they want you to be proud to have them. They want you to show them off. That's what I'm getting. Like an accessory, like, look who this is, you know? They're going to be so proud to have you, and they want you to do the same thing. Like with your spouse, I'm getting that they actually want you guys to become this power couple that everyone knows. And they want to make people know that you're together. Like, they don't want you to hide them. Which doesn't mean it has to be like a public relationship. It's just they love showing affection in public. They like holding hands. So it's like the little things. And they don't mind, I guess, kissing you in public and stuff like that. They just love everything about that. They just are so proud to be yours, and they're so proud that you're theirs. And that's the kind of vibe that I'm getting. Also, what's really, really interesting is that at first glance, they're going to come off as, I'm getting like different and strange, because I think what that might mean is the fact that they are foreign, or they have like a different nationality than you do. And at first it's going to be like, okay, well, that's different. I've never had someone like that before. But yeah, you're open anyway. You're open to give people a chance, so that's not going to be a problem. It's just I'm thinking there could be a difference in nationality or like ethnicity, okay? So on top of that, for some reason, they are also very, very young, and it could very well be their actual age, that they are still very, very young when you guys meet. Or maybe this is a type of young at heart thing, but for the most part, I'm thinking this person could actually be maybe 1 or 2 years or a few years younger than you are. I'm going to be honest. Because at first glance, if you look at your relationship with this person, or maybe this is their energy that I'm picking up on, but you guys next to each other, there's someone there who finds a certain aspect about this relationship strange. And they're going to be like, whoa, I've never been in a relationship like that. Like, this is a first for me. And it could be the age thing or the nationality thing. But honestly, I know that most of my viewers are women looking for men. So I'm just going to put it out there. If that's the case, and this guy might actually be a few years younger than you. And at first glance, it's going to be like, do I really want someone younger than me? Can this even work? Also from their perspective, it's like, oh, she's older than me. And that's kind of like what sets you guys back and what makes it you guys a little more careful. Or maybe it's also because of the fact that they have a different nationality than you do. And it's either you or them that's going to think, is this going to work? Maybe it's also with someone's family not accepting that or something like that. But the fact that they are, that there is like this age difference or difference in origins, there's something that sets you back at first, that makes you guys a little more careful, if that makes sense, okay? So yeah, if they are younger than you and you're not used to dating someone younger than you, you're going to notice very quickly how ambitious they actually are, how much they've actually achieved at such a young age. And it's like age doesn't even matter because it's just a number. And you're going to think that because it doesn't matter how old they are. Actually, I'm just getting that they've achieved so much by the time that you meet them, and they're going to still be young and they've already achieved so much. And you're going to be like, wow, how did they do that? That's amazing. The fact that they've created their entire life already, that they've achieved so much already. They're so ambitious. And I think that's the type of person that you are looking for. And another thing that I'm getting is the fact that at first this connection is going to be very, very friendly. And then as you guys get to know each other, it's going to turn into something a little more playful, like a little more humorous. I'm just getting that someone here just doesn't like want to mess up, and they just want to, I think it's them that they want you to see them in a very good light, and they want to show you like their best side. And because of that, they might be scared of revealing their hidden self to you, like what's inside. And we're going to get to that later on with all the zodiac cards. But yeah, at first they like don't want to mess up. That's what I'm getting, because they think you're really perfect. Or it could also be your energy that I'm reading here, but there's definitely something about wanting to be perfect. And what draws you guys toward each other so much is the fact that the roles could be reversed, but I'm just going to say you're a queen and they're a king. And like, you guys know that together you would be so powerful, and it's like undeniable that you guys want to be together and that you guys should be together, because such a powerful person needs a good match, and that's going to be you. Because like them, you've achieved a lot in your life and you're on that same level. And as that connection sort of develops, you actually are going to get to know their fun side, because they are actually the craziest person ever. Let me tell you that, because they have like this whole side of themselves that they're not showing to you at first, because at first they want to come off friendly and everything. But then you're going to notice that this person has the craziest ideas, and they're going to experience a lot of fun with you, because they are going to go on dates with you, and it's going to be wild, because they love the adrenaline. They love a lot of speed, so doing a lot of things in a short amount of time. It could also be traveling and just like seeing things. Like, they're not the type of person who would like to spend the day at home with you because they want to explore the world with you. There's a lot that they want to explore and they want to do that with you. And what I'm getting is the fact that you're going to have so much fun together. And you're going to think, oh my God, this person has so much power. This person has so much will to do these things, so much adrenaline. And it's going to be amazing because I'm thinking they're actually at some point going to drag you along a lot. Like they're going to say, come on, let's go outside, let's do something. But yeah, you are going to be down, definitely. But they're going to initiate a lot of stuff. That's definitely what I'm getting. Again, they are the emperor. They are used to making the rules. You know, they are used to giving commands and they're used to them being the one that's in control. So yeah, let's move on to some Lenormand cards. Actually, this is the first time I'm ever using Lenormand cards, and I decided to do a past, present, future for your spouse. So let's have a look. So I then went on to draw these 3 Lenormand cards to represent their past, present, and future. So let's see what I've got for your spouse. Their past is represented by the bouquet, number 9. Their present is represented by the key, number 33, and their future is all about the cross, number 36. With the bouquet in the past, it immediately makes me think of the fact that this person had a very, very loving mother. And for some reason, I'm getting that it's especially with their mother that she let them express themselves from a very young age. And she was pretty much open to the idea of her child becoming his own or their own individual. And she was just excited to see her child grow up pretty much. And she was always very supportive with whatever your spouse wanted to do. And she was always the first person to cheer them on. And I feel like this person has such a close connection to their mother. They're going to be pretty inseparable. And they are going to want to make her happy always. And she's always going to be this important figure in their life because their mother has just shown them how much is possible. And I feel like that support that they've had from very early on is part of the reason why they're so successful now, because their mom taught them everything is possible. You can be whoever you want in life. Just work hard. And another alternate message with a bouquet that I'm getting is the fact that in the past, your spouse used to do something regarding beauty or regarding fashion, or maybe they were extremely beautiful, but why wouldn't they be still? But in the past, there's something about beauty and fashion and like smelling good and all those types of things. Like looking at a bouquet of flowers, how does that make you feel? Like all these emotions. And I'm just getting that this person had a very, very beautiful childhood, actually. Now, looking at the present, they've discovered the key to life. They're living their best life. And your spouse right now, or in the present, at the day of you meeting them meeting you, is going to be thriving, is going to be growing. Like they haven't even reached their highest potential yet. They're still learning and they're still figuring it out, but they've got the key. They know where they want to go. They found the essence of their life. They found their life purpose. They know it. So all that's missing is you to help complete that, to maybe create this joined life purpose. That's what I'm getting, honestly, because right now in the present, everything's starting to align for them, actually. I realized it's a lot harder than I thought reading these Lenormand cards, just one for the future, one for the present, one for the past. But I am thinking with the cross for their future, that is going to mean that they're either going to become very, very religious at one point in their life, but it could also just mean that they are prepared for any kind of like struggle, for any challenge. Because like now in the present, they found their key, they found the solution to something. So it's like with any struggles that they're going to have to overcome in life, they're going to be able to do it because they also have you. And it's like they're prepared for anything. They're prepared for a crisis. I'm just like they're actually excited for the challenges of life, and nothing is going to hinder them from getting what they want. That's just what I'm getting with these cards. Because the key is in the present. That's very, very interesting. That's very beautiful. So yeah, there's not much that I can say other than that. So let's move on to some astrology cards. Okay, now on to the last part of this reading. I did draw you 8 of these oracle cards, 4 planets and 4 zodiac signs. And I do want to mention that this does not have to be an exact replica of their birth chart, because again, this is a general reading. So it's more about the energies themselves and the messages. What does it mean when a certain planet is in a certain sign? Okay, it's all about that and all about what that represents. So let's have a look at these pairs. So the first pair of cards that we got for your spouse is Mercury and Virgo. Then we've got Jupiter and Gemini. Then we've got the Moon in Aries. And finally, Mars in Cancer. So the very, very first thing that the universe wants to point out is how they communicate. Mercury rules communication, how you express yourself in terms of how you talk, how you think, how you learn. And for them, they have their Mercury in Virgo, very, very likely. But it's also about what that means, because the way they communicate is very, very articulate. They're going to use a lot of complex words or terms. I'm thinking that whatever they do, think a doctor is going to know all these different medical terms, or a lawyer is going to know all these different legal terms, and they just use a lot of those terms from their job in their day-to-day life as well. And you're going to be like, what does that even mean? Like, what are you saying right now? Because I feel like they have this huge vocabulary, and they also come off as someone highly intelligent. Okay. Also, I think they're going to have a very, very dry sense of humor, or like a very sarcastic humor that not everyone's going to find funny. And I'm not sure if you're going to find it funny, but the fact of the matter is that you're going to laugh together, and that's what's most important. Yeah, your person is definitely an excellent organizer. They always get their assignments done on time, actually. And I feel like that's part of the reason what made them a boss, what made them so good at what they do, because they always apply logic to everything. And I want to tell you one thing, as I've mentioned before they're going to start a relationship or start something with you, they're going to make sure that you're their best friend. And I'm going to tell you that pretty much always they're going to think with their head. They're not much of a heart person. They're more of a head person. They think with their head, is this going to work out? What's in there for me? I guess that sometimes that could be the downside, that they're neglecting what their heart wants because they're always so stubborn. I need to follow my head. I need to be logical. I need to be reasonable. That's what I'm getting from them, and from that card especially. So yeah, they are always analytical. I'm also getting that they are very, very detailed. Like, they have this attention to detail, especially with the way that they're thinking. When they're preparing something, they think about the smallest details, okay? It's just what this Virgo card entails. So yeah, Jupiter is all about luck, about fortune, about how someone exactly finds their happiness and abundance. For them, it seems to be in Gemini, and that just tells me that they have a lot that they want to eventually do. Like, they have a lot of ambitions. They are also happy with some sort of duplicity, or faith grants them success at their second try. So it could be that you are their second serious relationship or even marriage, but I'm getting like the second try is going to be the one that they're going to succeed with. Because at one point in their life, they were in a completely different direction. And then they realized maybe this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. Maybe it was because they were in a job that they were very unhappy with, or in a relationship that they were very unhappy in. And they decided, I need to change that. And it's like this second try, the second start is what truly brought them happiness and what brought them on their path. Also, they could have a twin brother or sister with the twins that we're looking at on this card right here, because Jupiter represents the things you don't a lot of times have influence over. So I'm thinking, yeah, they could have a twin. It's actually very likely for them to have a twin, or if not, someone that looks just like them that they get confused with a lot of the times. On top of that, I'm just getting a very, again, inquisitive and curious vibe. It's like they want to experience so much. They're definitely open to trying new stuff. That's not going to be a problem. Like, they're always ready to expand their horizons and give everything a chance. The Luna, or the moon in Aries, kind of does make perfect sense because they are a leader at heart. Deep inside within them, they are a leader. They are the initiator. They're the one that's going to be accountable for their own decisions. They're the one that's going to make the move. So I could think that this person, like by nature, is very naturally going to make the first move on you. That's what I'm thinking. Although, as I've said, they're not going to reveal that they are into you right away, but they're definitely going to pursue you. That's what I'm getting. Because it doesn't even matter who initially makes the first move, you or them. But there's this driving force inside of them that wants to keep going, keep getting to know you, keep pushing. Like, they're not going to at one point leave you on red, because otherwise this would never work. Instead, they're going to keep pushing to seeing you again and again until something eventually develops. And one more reason Moon in Aries makes perfect sense is because they always are their own boss. It's like they don't like other people telling them what to do. They want to do what's right. They want to do what they think is right. So yeah, I don't even know what else to add to that. But like, their true self, deep inside, deep within them, their soul is an Aries. It's like the initiator. It's like they're the main character. They're the one that's living, right? They're living for them. So then moving on to the Mars in Cancer, I'm thinking this is telling us about how protective they actually are. Because something about this card tells me that deep within, they are very, very sensitive, but they just don't show it a lot of the times. And as I've said, it's going to take them a long time to say I love you, first of all. And also, they have this natural instinct to protect those close to them. So they're going to always want to protect you. And maybe the downside is that they're always going to want to know, what are you doing right now? Like, I want to know where you're at. I want to know what you're doing. I want to know who you're with. So that can get like a little tricky, especially if you like your freedom, because your person is going to want to just know that you're well. They don't even mean you any harm, and they're not even thinking that you're cheating or anything. It's just that the nature of them, they don't like knowing that you're somewhere and they don't know where you're at and they don't know who you're with. It's just that they constantly want to know these types of things because they have this very protective energy. And they're not going to be obnoxious. They're not going to be controlling. Actually, they're going to be very, very sweet about this, I think. But yeah, see it however you want, good or bad. The fact that we have a Cancer here just tells me that they do choose their words very carefully and they don't want to offend anyone when it comes to that either. So they don't even want you to think that they're like controlling. It's just that they kind of worry about you. And something also tells me that deep down they take things very, very personal, especially when talking about their strength, because if this is a guy, then he would get very, very offended if someone said, oh, you're not strong enough, like something like that. And actually, there's a lot of like toxic masculinity in here, because if this is a guy, then I think at times he could be hiding his feelings just to come off as a strong person. We've got the Mars. So yeah, deep down, he's actually very, very sensitive, but he's just not showing that to everyone. Or, well, it's going to take time for him to show that to you as well. All right, now that's actually it already for this reading. Don't forget to subscribe, because I will be uploading 3 more parts of this series. So if you want to know what this person looks like, where they're from, what their name is, and how you guys are going to meet, what the love story is like, stay tuned, because I will be uploading those very, very soon. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. If this was helpful, if this was interesting, let me know down below. And yeah, I'd love to read some comments. And with that being said, I really hope I can see you again very soon, next week actually. All right, goodbye, guys. Hey there to everyone who was drawn to the second stack of cards. Let's find out who you're meant to end up with and who you will eventually marry. So we're going to start off with some tarot cards, and the first one's actually in reverse. We've got the 2 of Swords in reverse. Then we've got the 3 of Wands, the 6 of Wands, and the 8 of Wands. Wow, a lot of fire energy, a lot of wands, a lot of passion. All right, for your spouse, I'm getting this very specific image, and the number one thing these cards scream is they're careful. They don't want to make a mistake. They don't want to make another mistake, and they're going to be really, really cautious when it comes to dating, because something here just tells me that they've went through a lot of adversity, especially regarding their love life. They've gone through a lot of and they've likely been betrayed. So for some reason, they have like their walls up right now, or at the point of you meeting them. And they're not just gonna let anyone in. In fact, this might not sound like the most positive message, but hear me out. They are gonna wear a mask at first, and you're not going to even know the real them at first. Because maybe when you first meet them, you might have a totally different opinion of them. Like, oh, I don't like this person. I don't like the way they are. And then as you get to know them, it turns out that they're totally different to what you had expected. Or maybe you already know this person and you're not liking them, but then once they sort of start to open up and you get to know their secret side, like they become more vulnerable, that's when you actually start liking them a lot more, and you're like, hey, this could actually work, where you actually might be compatible. Because one thing I'm also getting is that they just cannot make up their mind. Their opinion of stuff often changes, and they are ever changing. They are always evolving as a person, and one day they might find something super cool, and then the next day it's completely boring to them. This is a really, really difficult and complex person that you're dealing with here, and the fact that they never really want to settle with something is also why it's so hard for them to make a decision, especially regarding marriage. They don't want to get married because they know that they tend to get bored and that they tend to have a change of heart a lot, and they want to make like 100 or 200% sure that they actually get married to the right person. And another thing that I'm getting is that you might not be meeting this person at the ideal time from their perspective, because like you develop all these feelings, and they certainly do as well, but they're sort of a little scared of commitment. And I feel like you've got to show them that you're the right person. You've got to like reassure them, because this person's definitely living a good life. I am getting that they've healed from what they used to experience and from what they've gone through, but it's just they're very, very cautious at first. One thing that might bug you initially is the fact that it seems like a lot of time is passing and the connection is like not progressing at first, because they might give you like subtle hints that they like you, but they never really take it too far at first, and you're gonna think, how is this gonna continue? Like, do we even have a chance? Does this person like me? But the truth is they just cannot make up their mind whether they want to spend the rest of their life with someone or not. It's a very, very difficult decision for them, and they can't just make that decision within a few days, weeks, and months. I feel like it's going to take time for them to get married. It's like a big, big deal that they want to evaluate and overthink a lot, because I feel like they have this kind of mentality that their life sort of stops or like ends as soon as they get married. Like it's going to be totally different, when they don't realize that they can live their current life, like their happy life, with someone else. Because I'm getting that in the present they are extremely happy, and they're very hopeful as well, because they've recently like experienced how beautiful life actually is, the joy of life, because they might have like overcome something really, really big and terrible to them, some sort of adversity, or maybe they've battled disease or an addiction, and it just kind of like renewed their hope. But when it comes to having a partner, they're like, whoa, back off. Like, I like to take my time with that. So when it comes to who they are as a person, they are very, very open-minded, and they are actually spontaneous. It's hard to describe this person because they're constantly evolving, they're constantly changing, and who they were a year ago, 2 years ago, when they were a child or a teenager is no longer the same person. They constantly change, and that's why it's so hard to read them. But I'm getting that they are very optimistic, they're very hopeful, and they might as well be faithful or religious. And they also have found their sense of hope. Like, they got their hope renewed and they got their hope back, which is why they're a little more grateful for the simple things. So this person doesn't even need a lot. I'm getting that they're very easy, that they're very, for some reason, I'm getting gentle with their approach. So they're definitely not one of the loudest people out there. They could be an introvert, and I'm also getting that they could be a hedonist. But one of the best qualities of them that we can definitely see looking at these cards alone is the fact there's so many wands. I feel like they are all about passion, about pleasure, very hedonistic actually. Like, they want to maximize pleasure in their life and minimize effort pretty much. And I'm getting they could be a minimalist, a simplicist, if that's even a word. Like, they're all about having a very simple lifestyle. And they also have that, I'm getting that they have like a very small circle of friends. Because as I've told you, they barely let anyone in this circle. But once you're in, that means they want you to stay. Because once you're in this small circle of people that they like to be around, they made up their mind and you're in there for good. I'm thinking that even if it sounds like cheesy, they really don't care about looks. All they care about is someone with good intentions, with a good heart. They are a heart person is what I'm getting. And it's all about the way someone makes them feel, because that's what they're after. If someone can make them feel a certain way, that's what they want. And I don't think they have a type when it comes to looks, maybe even sexuality. Their sexuality could be fluid. Okay, it doesn't have to be that they're just attracted to one gender. So yeah, that's pretty much all that I can say from these cards. So let's get in some Lenormand cards, and we're going to read their past, present, and future. So let's have a look. The number 4, which is the house, represents their past. The number 16, which is the star, represents their present. And the number 8, the coffin, represents their future. So we're going to get into that as well. If I'm being honest, this is such a difficult pile. This is such a difficult spread, and I hardly know how to interpret it, but I think I'm on the right track. But with their past, their present, and their future, it's looking like they've had a pretty solid, a pretty good childhood. It's looking like there was nothing crazy that happened early on. It's like these adversities that they had to overcome they did happen when they first started to date, because from what I'm getting is that they gave all of their heart out to somebody and ended up being broken, ended up being left behind or not chosen, and that is why they put their wall up. This is not something that happened in their childhood. I do not think that they have childhood trauma. This is because of something that happened later on. As I've said, it is pretty much because they gave all their heart away. Now they're thinking, oh, I'm going to be careful from now on. What I'm actually seeing is that they've had a lot of good childhood memories, and their childhood was actually blessed. It looks like they love to remember it. They look like they're also very, very close to their family. Like, family could be a big deal, could be very, very important. And one question that they're going to ask themselves is, can I have a family with you? Is this going to work? And that's like all the things they're considering, because this person one day definitely wants to have a family. They want to have children. They want to have everything planned out. And that's the reason why you might not be coming in at the right time, when they're still figuring it out. And they're like, whoa, you are everything I want, but it's like too early for me. And I know that my heart changes a lot and what I feel changes a lot. So I'm scared that these feelings are going to go away. That's sort of the way that they're thinking, because I'm thinking this still happens like in the midst of your guys' journey, of you guys evolving. So you're probably not at a point where you want to settle. That's the interesting part, or at least from their perspective, they're not at a point yet where they want to settle at the time of you guys meeting. And we can see that in the present, they are very hopeful. The star in Lenormand is pretty much the same as the star in tarot, as far as I know. They're being very hopeful. They have a whole new perspective on life. Although still being very careful, they just love seeing what the universe has to offer. I think this is a very spiritual or religious person, in fact, and they believe in God, or they believe in some sort of higher power. They're also very philosophical. You can have amazing conversations with them. I am more and more getting the vibe that they might be an introvert, and you can have amazing, deep conversations with them about the existence, about life, essentially everything that cannot be explained. That's what they love to talk about and what they love to have conversations about. So yeah, they definitely are in a good state of mind, and that's really important, especially when getting to know someone. When falling in love, you have to be in a good place, because the other person is going to absorb whatever energy their counterpart has. And they are in a good place. Nothing bad is going on. They've overcome the adversities already, so you're not going to have to deal with that. It's just that they're extremely very, very careful, as I've said. And I don't want to repeat myself too often. Now, what concerns me a little is that you got the coffin card for their future. Everyone dies at some point. It's not even a question, and this does not have to worry you at all. Also, this is a general reading, so a lot of people are going to hear this message. You're obviously doing something to convince them that you're the right one for them and that you can have a life together with them. Although they are skeptical at first, something happens and things change. Also, I'm thinking you could know this person for a very, very long time until eventually you get married. Maybe this is even a childhood friend or someone that you know from a long time. Maybe you already know them as of now. So it's very, very interesting. And the fact that the future ends with an ending, that's also kind of ironic, because I don't know what else to say, because of course they're going to die at some point, and you're going to die as well. We're all going to die. But this might in fact just be another simple confirmation that this kind of connection ends in death. Like, you guys are going to be together until death parts you, pretty much. Talking about endings, it could also mean that they have a very fulfilled life. They are going to accomplish everything they've put their mind to. Everything they've wanted. They're going to live a very happy life with you together as well. They do it all before eventually they die. It's like they have a very, very fulfilling life. and there's nothing that they would have wanted to do at the point of them passing away one day. There's nothing that they would have wanted to do that they didn't, because I'm thinking one thing that they're learning is to take more chances, to say more yes. Especially, I think you're going to be the one. This is like kind of like talking about your story a lot, which is going to be a separate video. So, but still, I'm thinking like meeting you, they realize that they need to say more yeses, that they need to be more open-minded. And it's like you sort of change something within them as well and make them more open-minded, okay, than they already are. So yeah, now we're going to get on to the second part of the reading, and we're going to look at some astrology. All right, now on to the final part of the reading. I've got some astrological oracle cards for you guys, and these are 8 cards total, 4 planets and 4 zodiac signs. And let me just tell you, this does not have to be an exact replica of their birth chart. I want to stress that. It's more about the qualities itself. It's more about the message of the cards. What does it mean when a certain planet is in a certain sign? That's what it's about. And your spouse is likely going to have a lot of these qualities. So let's find out what kind of pairs you've got. There are 4 in total, and the first one, actually, I just want to say, I asked the universe to give us information about whatever, the universe deemed valuable. And for you, you've got the Venus in Sagittarius, first of all. Then you've got Saturn in Gemini. The moon in Cancer. I love the artwork on these cards. And finally, Mercury in Libra. This actually makes perfect sense with the Venus being in Sagittarius. The Venus talks about how they love, how they experience love, what kind of lover they are. And it also talks about beauty besides that, personal taste. But the point is that they like to have their freedom. Like even when being in a relationship and when being married, they still like to have their space for themselves. And that is something that you guys seem to have agreed with, like you're fine with that. And when being in a connection, they still like to have their freedom. That doesn't mean they're gonna not show you affection at all. It just means that they don't want to be, or they don't want you to be all over them or all over you 24/7. Like there's limits, okay? And they do like having their own personal space. Also, this could talk about traveling and how they need a partner that is going to be open, that is going to be willing to discover with them, because I do feel like they have this sense of adventure and they want to see the world. And again, I've told you, at the time of you guys meeting or marrying, they don't want to settle down yet. Although they do want to have a family, it's like it's too early in their eyes. And so they need someone who's going to travel the world with them, who's going to do everything with them, but still leaving them some personal space, which is really interesting. And that's exactly what I mean by having said they can never make up their mind. Like on the one hand, they want affection, and on the other hand, they want a space. On the one hand, they want a family, and on the other hand, it's too early. They want to explore the world. So yeah, they are very conflicted and they're a very complex person. It also shows us about how they can give their heart away so easily, about how they might not think before they act. And that is exactly the thing that broke them, I'm guessing, because having the Venus in Sagittarius, they are usually very open-minded, and I feel like that's what happened in their first relationship. Like they gave their all out to someone so early and ended up being hurt. And this is why they're so careful now, because I can see that naturally they would love to give their everything to someone, but they've put their walls up, as we've said. And one more thing I want to stress: a need for space is not a lack of commitment, or should not be a lack of commitment. Like they're going to be committed AF to this, because once they've made up their mind, yeah, it's like do or die for them. But I guess you're going to sort of like have to find a compromise if you're the one who constantly wants affection. But if you're like that too, if you're like, oh, I need my personal space as well, then it looks like it could work out very well, actually. So the next cards are going to be really interesting because Saturn generally talks about what challenges you're facing in life and the things that you are getting yourselves into, what you're learning, and what adversities you might face. But for them, since it is in Gemini, I'm getting that, for once, I'm getting the message that they're like a very bad texter because they're all about having a face-to-face communication. That's just what they prefer. And it's like they are a completely different person on text. It seems like they could be a very dry texter. It's just like they don't know how to text. That's like one thing I'm getting. And on the other hand, they love talking face-to-face. They could speak several languages. I'm thinking they speak at least 3 languages. They're also well-traveled, so they've seen a lot of places, but there's still a lot of places they want to go to and that they want to visit and see and explore because they still think of themselves as very, very young, no matter how old they actually are. Other than that, they might have a split personality or mood swings in general. So yeah, moving on to the moon, which is kind of interesting that we got the moon and the Mercury because the moon is going to tell us a little more about what's going on inside, and Mercury is going to tell us more about how they communicate and why. So with the moon being in Cancer, they are actually very, very sensitive, and this makes perfect sense, and it just confirms what we were thinking. The reason why they're so closed off, the reason why they have this wall up is because they are actually very, very emotional on the inside. They actually break quite easily, and I think words hurt them a lot, even if they try not to show it. If someone says something bad to them, someone that they care about, or does something, then they get very, very upset, and it actually causes a lot of disruption within them because that is the reason why they keep their circle so small, because I feel like the people that are in this circle, they care so much about them, because once they fully allow someone in, they likely stay there forever because this person has a hard time letting go, forgetting, and getting someone out that circle again, because once you're in there, it's like they treasure you in their heart forever. And that is the reason why it's going to work out with them, because they're not going to be someone to betray you or change their mind on you. It's just like that beginning phase. It seems like they need to get over this phase of, am I going to get bored of this person? Can I really let them in? Because I feel like once you get vulnerable with this person, things change a lot for them. And yeah, they start seeing you in a different light. Because usually it's hard for them to distinguish between someone that's going to be a little fun for a while and a life partner, because they don't know, am I going to feel this way forever? But like once you truly made it inside their heart, I think you are going to stay there forever. And also I'm thinking this is another confirmation that at one point in their life, they are going to want a family, or like family is very important to them. And most of the people that are in their heart actually are from their own family. And obviously one day you're going to be their family as well. So it's pretty much families number one. And I think friends are overrated in their eyes. Maybe they have a really big family, so they don't need a lot of friends to begin with. I'm seeing a lot of ties to their home, to where they come from. So if they were not born in the country that they live in, they have a very close connection or very close ties to their home country, to the place where they belong, or to where they originated from. And it's not that they're necessarily patriotic, but they just have such a close connection to that place in their childhood. Like wherever they grew up, or wherever they have that home, that sense of home, it means a lot to them. And so do family, and their home, maybe their house or the home itself, it means a lot. Now on to the Mercury in Libra. Wow, okay, that also just confirms what we've been saying earlier. The fact that they are quite indecisive. They never know, do I want this or do I not? But it also kind of reminds me of the fact that they are talkative once they're very comfortable with you. And they still choose their words very carefully, I believe, especially at the beginning. They don't want to mess anything up, so they're very careful with their words. And they do care about how at least how you are going to perceive them if they care about you. They don't want to like say something wrong or offend anyone. That's the last thing they want. And I feel like once they start getting comfortable, oh my God, they talk like a waterfall. They're the most excessive talker. They can talk about anything. It's just like they have to like break the ice first. That's what I'm honestly getting. And yeah, with the Libra, there's a stereotype that they can be very indecisive, that they constantly have to evaluate both sides of the story. So especially when it comes to making a decision, they always are very, very slow because they always want to evaluate, well, what would life be like if I chose option A, and what would it be like if I chose option B? Like, yeah, they could definitely lack some decision-making skills. That's what I'm seeing. So that can sometimes turn into procrastination from their part. But yeah, I believe that is part of the lessons that they are learning in this lifetime, and that is part of their destiny. Like I think they are trying to become a better person. It's just that some things are just really difficult for them, but they're dealing with it. They still love life to the fullest. They still enjoy life, and they don't like drama. They don't like negativity. Even if this reading might have sounded like that, it was not my intention, because I believe this is truly a happy person, a very simple person who's just very slow at deciding and figuring out what they want, and especially when it comes to deciding who they want to be with. All right, so that was pretty much all that I have for you guys. I encourage you to subscribe to my channel so that you're going to be on time for the other 3 parts if you're curious about what your spouse looks like, or where they're from, what their name might be, or the entire love story. Then stay tuned, because I'll be uploading those to my channel next. So yeah, if this resonated, if this was helpful, if you have any thoughts on it, let me know down below. I'd love to read some comments on this. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and all the best. Thank you so much, and goodbye. Hey there to everyone who was drawn to the 3rd pile. Let's find out who you're going to marry and who you are meant to end up with. So let's see, I know this is a big deal, so let's get to it. We're going to start off with some tarot cards, and they represent your spouse's personality, what they're like, and yeah, kind of like their story. So let's see, we've got the Sun, the Ace of Swords, the 6 of Swords, and the 4 of Chalices, aka Cups. So what I'm getting immediately from your person, from your spouse, is good vibes, because they are so fun to be around. Let me be honest. They are a ray of sunshine. I'm going to tell you that. And they're also very social beings. So they do not mind going up to someone and just striking up a conversation, talking to them. And that's probably how you guys are going to create this connection. I mean, this reading is not about how you're going to meet. That's going to be a different video. But I'm just going to say this person is very, very talkative, and they love having conversation with anybody. And they could have a conversation with anybody. So naturally, since they do like talking, they always are going to stand up for those that they love. So your person is definitely going to defend you when you're not around. When someone's using your name in their mouth, they're going to be the first one to talk back, because essentially this is a very, very loyal soul, and they might not let everyone in their heart, but once you're in, they're going to be pretty much your ride or die, because they're going to always have your back. And also what I'm getting is that they always stand up for the truth, and they always stand up for what they believe in, no matter what the other people might say. Or your person is going to have some very controversial opinions, but they don't care, because that's what they believe in. And they don't care what society thinks of that, and they don't care what anyone thinks. It's just they are very, very, I guess, sometimes a little stubborn. But one thing that they are learning is to think before they speak. That's what I can see. Nonetheless, with the Sun being here, I cannot help but think that this person is going to have the most beautiful smile and the most intoxicating aura that just exudes happiness. Because when you're around this person, you cannot help but be happy. You cannot help but laugh. You cannot help but have a good time. So even when you're not in a good mood, as soon as you get around this person, It's like they light up your mood immediately in an instant. And that's what draws you to them so much because, as I've said, they are this ray of sunshine and they are pretty much happiness. They are everything that you need to make a good day, to make the day worthwhile. And any type of activity is going to be fun with them. Even like the most mundane things, they're going to make it fun. Like when you do those things together. So yeah, also as I've mentioned, this person is also very analytical and very strategic for some reason. I'm getting strategic. And that is also what their job and their career is going to be, something where they have to focus intensely, where they have a lot of responsibility. Their job has got to do with them taking control, but like being very responsible, and they also have to be very strategic in their job. Like they have to find the right moment to do certain things, certain actions. I can't even get too specific because this is a general reading, but like their job has to do with them having to be like on time, on point. It has to be like well thought out. It has to be like strategic. I am getting that their job involves money and like the mind. Like they have to have a very sharp perception. And I'm also getting this job is like for the smartest people only, because your person is not only super happy all the time, I mean super positive, but they're also extremely smart. And they are definitely a head person. I'm not even gonna lie, they always think with their head, and they're not going to make heart-based decisions because, especially in their work field, that would only hurt them. So they're used to making a lot of head-based decisions because that's what they've always been accustomed to. And also when talking to you, they are going to mostly think with their head. Like, is this going to work out? Let's be rational. And they might not open up right away. Like, you might not see that lovely side right away because they want to figure out, can this even work? Because they're looking for something long term. And your person is not going to show you what their heart looks like until they're sure that you're the one. And I'm also getting that it's probably going to take quite a while before your first kiss or before you guys get intimate. Like you're going to probably have known each other for a while when that happens one day. Oh, also one thing that I noticed is the Ace of Swords. I'm thinking they could also be an entrepreneur. They could have their own business because they are so creative and analytical in a sense that they could make something of their own, because the Ace is like a new start, a beginning. So maybe they have their own business. All right, just a random thought. They don't have to be an entrepreneur, but still, their everyday life involves a lot of strategy and how can I generate the most income. So they could also work at the bank. I'm getting like money. I don't know why I'm getting casino for some of them. But, you know, this is a general reading. So in the end, it could be many things. So yeah, one more thing that is really interesting is the fact that I'm getting they are an immigrant, or they are, first of all, well-traveled, and they've lived in so many different places throughout their life. Like they were born one place and moved to the next place throughout their childhood, and then eventually they got to a different place. And I'm thinking that whatever country you guys are going to meet in, they are not going to be from that country. Like they are an immigrant, or maybe they haven't even immigrated. Maybe they're just there for a short while. That's the interesting thing. So they could be a tourist or an immigrant to whatever country you guys are meeting in, but they're definitely not going to be from there. So that goes without saying that you guys likely are going to have different nationalities or like different backgrounds, all right? In general, I'm going to say that this person just loves exploring. They are a big adventurer and they are a big explorer. They love going to different places and they love getting to know different cultures. That's what I'm getting. And they are very, very well traveled. And I don't know why, but at the point of you guys meeting, they've crossed a lot off their bucket list. Like they've seen a lot of places already, but there's still some places that they would like to go, maybe with you guys together, okay? That's something that you would consider. What matters is that they've never stayed in the same place for a very long time. And honestly, I don't think that they've settled at the time of you meeting. They're still like exploring their options. Where do I want to live? Where do I want to go? I don't know, I'm getting like late 20s maybe, that this person is going to meet you. They're in their late 20s or late 30s, but it's like at the cusp of a new decade for them. So they could be like either 28, 29, or they could be 38, 39, or like 49, something like that. It's like right at the cusp of a new decade starting for them. So yeah, one more thing that I'm really getting with your person is the fact that they are quite hard to impress or quite hard to please by nature. I think they have very, very high standards, and they would not settle down with just about anyone, and this person's very picky. But don't you worry, because obviously you've got something that they really like. I'm just pointing it out that they likely have a very specific type, or at least very specific expectations what they want from a partner. And one thing I'm getting is that this partner should be free. Like, they shouldn't be bound to a place, because what they're doing is, I'm thinking their job requires them to travel a lot. So it would be awesome for them to find a partner that can travel with them. Traveling is so big and important in your group. I don't know why I haven't even seen it come up at all in the other pals, but for you guys, it's going to be crucial. So this looks like someone that's going to go to a lot of different places in just 1 year, and they would love to have someone who can accompany them. Another thing could be that this person is just so bored easily, and they just cannot make up their mind, especially with the Four of Cups. Not just the place that they stay at, it's also the way they perceive people. Like, I think they could get bored very easily. And they could also switch up friend groups or switch up the people that they talk to, like, in an instant. Like, it doesn't bother them. They don't have to have like any lifelong friends. I think actually, since they are so good at just going up to anyone, they can make the most out of any situations. And they probably don't have that many friends that they've known forever, because they just constantly make new friends and new experiences, especially since they're traveling a lot. They cannot be around those people forever. That's just one idea that I'm having. And also, when it comes to their previous relationships, they've never had a successful relationship. I mean, if they did, they wouldn't be marrying you. But like, I'm actually thinking all their relationships sort of like ended badly in a disaster. I'm also going to be honest, they've broken hearts before because they just weren't able to meet someone's expectations. It's not necessarily that they were heartbroken. I'm not getting that at all. Actually, I think your person is the one who broke off things with other people because they just didn't see it last, because they just weren't satisfied. And for some reason, I'm not thinking that this person has been, they could have been heartbroken, but it's not essential to their life. Like, at the point of you meeting, they've moved on from that 100%. So yeah, it's not even showing up in the cards that they're still having their walls up. Not at all. That's what I've gotten with the other pals. But with you, it's like, no, they're open. It's just, they have all these expectations that they want you to meet. That's the thing with them. So yeah, now let's get on to some Lenormand cards. I'm also very excited for those. We're going to be reading their past, present, and future. So let's see. As for their past, we've got the number 7, the snake. Their present is represented by the ship, number 3, and we've got the whip, number 11, for their future. From what I'm getting in terms of their past, there was a very, very deceptive person. It's usually a woman, but it could be any gender. But there could have been like a very, very deceptive woman. But I'm going to keep it more general. This person likely had a very, very toxic ex or partner. And this partner was very, very deceptive and devious. This person didn't have good intentions from the beginning, and I feel like they did play a lot of games with your person. And it's not that they were heartbroken over the fact that it didn't work out, because I'm thinking, as I've said, your person is the one that broke it off. Maybe they caught them cheating or something, and they were like, this has to stop. I'm not giving you another chance. And yeah, they were probably upset, but I'm also getting that at the point of you guys meeting, it was so long ago that it's no longer affecting them. But their there was like a very, very sneaky person in their life that did take up a long time actually. So this could have went on for like 2 to 4 or 5 years, okay, that they were in this connection. And they were ultimately the one who broke it off because they felt like they were underappreciated and their trust was betrayed. There could have been something like cheating going on there, not from their part, but from their partner's part. So yeah, that's pretty much why they were never lucky in terms of relationship. What's really, really interesting though is the fact that your partner, after experiencing all of this, doesn't have their walls up. So it's a good thing, I guess, because they are going to give everyone a chance still, and they know that not everyone's going to be a psycho like their ex was, or like maybe it was like a wife or a husband. I don't know, they could have been married, or maybe they, I'm not sure if they have any children. I don't know, I can't say that, okay? Like it's too general to say that. I'm just like getting a very psychopath ex girl or boyfriend for them that they've had that is not good, and you know, you're never going to get compared to them because they want to forget about them. There could have also been a lot of jealousy that was involved in that connection. Anyway, you guys get the gist, so we're going to move on from their past and what happened to them. In their present, we're getting the ship, and that just perfectly also aligns with what we've said about them traveling. In the present, they are still traveling. They haven't settled for a place yet, and they probably don't even have like a place to call their home. Like they don't have a house or like a home that they eventually want to settle down in. They don't have that yet, okay? It doesn't mean they don't want to get it, but I'm thinking like at this point of them just living, they don't need it. And eventually when they meet you, they're going to think about settling down because they won't have settled down yet at the point of you meeting. And right now they're just like still seeing the world. They're never in the same place. Their job actually allows or forces, I don't know which one, but it either allows or forces them to travel the world and see a lot of different places. They could also be like a really successful business person. Like they have a lot of meetings in various countries and they're like a representative of something and they have to be there all the time. They're a head of, okay, like a master or something. So yeah, definitely a very successful person, job-wise, very, very successful. And I don't know exactly how to interpret number 11, the whip, because, and especially regarding their future, because it usually stands for some like really kinky stuff. Someone that's into, I don't know, various fetishes, I guess. But when applying this to their future, I don't know how that makes sense because they would always be this way, right? It doesn't have to like rely on the future. But I mean, this could, on the one hand, mean that they are looking for someone who has like similar interests because they have like very weird kinks or something, or like weird fetishes. And maybe you guys have that same thing, okay? I don't know. I don't know about that. Don't quote me on that. I'm actually still thinking. I've thought a lot about this card and I just cannot exactly explain why this does represent their future. All I could think of is the fact that they are going to be a MILF or a DILF, that they're going to be so hot when they're old. I don't know, but they are going to be seen as a fantasy of many when they are older because they're still so good looking. That's like another thing that I could think of. Maybe you have something of your own that you could think of. I don't know. So yeah, now we're going to get moving to the last part of this reading and we're going to look into some astrology, all right? These are 8 cards actually, 4 planets and 4 zodiac signs. And I do want to mention this is not supposed to be an exact replica of their birth chart. It's more about the energies and the meanings of these cards itself and what does it mean when a certain planet is in a certain sign. What kind of qualities might that person have? That's what it's all about. So let's see what kind of pairings you do have. So first of all, we've got the Uranus in Pisces. Then we've got Mercury in Aquarius. Mars in Aries. And finally, the Sun in Gemini. So they might actually be a Gemini, or they might have their Sun in an air sign. So the sheer fact that we've got the Uranus card just tells me that your person is a little bit of a rule breaker. Your person's a little bit of a rebel, if I'm being honest. Because as I've mentioned, like at the beginning of this reading, they do not care what society thinks, and they do not care what you should and should not do according to society, because they'll do it anyway. They've got that little rebel inside of them. And especially with Pisces being there, I would guess that this person has a very unique way of expressing themselves, of being creative, and they are quite artistic actually when it comes to that, but they actually might express that in a very controversial way, if that makes sense. So they actually do things that make a lot of people question them, and that I think they could even get a little hate for that, but it's normal, because if you stand out, you're always going to get criticized. This is definitely not someone who's going to go with the flow, or swim with the flow, because they are going to be the one that automatically sticks out, because they're the one that's not following the trail that the rest of the fish are. Oh my god, I hope that makes sense, but you guys get what I'm saying. Oh, also one thing that I'm getting is like a very, very weird taste in music, in fashion, in film, in whatever. It is just such a weird taste that they have, and probably you will not have the same exact taste in music and fashion and film, or even books, but you know, that's just what makes them unique, the kind of interest they have. They have really weird hobbies and talents that are actually oddly specific, that you would think, who does that? I've never heard of that before. So yeah, this is definitely an intellect, and for some of you guys, I'm getting that this person has like a degree in something, and for others, they could even be an entrepreneur, but they're definitely very, very successful with what they do. But I think we've talked enough about their job. That's really all that I can say about that. And with Uranus and Pisces being here, I think one of their hobbies involves like technology. Like they might be a little bit of a nerd, like a tech nerd or something like that. All right. Now, in terms of how they communicate, Mercury is all about communication, and they did get the Aquarius, which is kind of fitting, because I'm going to tell you, I'm getting more and more the vibe that this person is definitely an extrovert. As I've told you, they always say what's on their mind, and they are very, very social. And although they might not have a lot of friends for life, it's just so easy for them to just go up to anyone and talk to them and strike up a conversation. As I've said, they're probably going to do that to you as well, because they have no problem showing off. Like, they know who they are, and if someone doesn't like them, then that's not their problem. They're very confident, and I feel like they haven't always been this way, but like right now, or when you're going to meet them, they will just exude that charisma, that confidence. So in terms of how they think, how they act, how they communicate, it's definitely a lot of Aquarian vibes here that we're getting. Also, what this person likes is having like intellectual conversations. And I'm thinking there's quite a few niches or quite a few topics that they're really, really passionate about, and that they can talk about for hours. And it's like oddly specific stuff where you're going to think, who even is interested in that? Like, it's gotta be my partner. Also, I'm getting this person likes challenging their own mind, because they're just very strategic. I'm thinking they could like playing games, not in terms of playing people, but like in terms of maybe video games or board games, but they're really into playing. Also, a lot of them are going to play chess. There's something about chess that I'm also getting, all right? They love doing, because they just like to challenge their own mind, and they constantly want to get better. They're on this quest of becoming the best version of themselves, and with everything that they do, they see potential to get better at something, and they are a little bit of a perfectionist, and they're definitely ambitious. That's like something that I'm definitely getting. The downside of them is definitely the lack of heart. I'm going to be honest because this is such a head person. Like they are so much in their head. They're always calculating. They're always analyzing. So that I'm not saying they're not going to be romantic and stuff, but I guess they could use a little more heart sometimes. Like if you, I think you might actually be the opposite, always thinking with your heart, and they're going to be the counterpart, always a logical, rational kind of person. And you're the kind of type who says, well, everything is possible and I want to follow my heart. That's just the idea that I'm having. And those two do go well together. I want to say that because they need someone to show them compassion, to teach them about love, to show them what it's like to actually be loved because they've never experienced that before. And maybe you could need some of their logic sometimes. So it's just one of the ideas that I'm having. I do think this is going to go well together. And after all, this is the person that you're going to end up with, that you are meant to die with pretty much. So grow old with. So yeah, it is only going to go so well. That's what I can say. With the Mars in Aries, it just confirms what we've been saying. Not a lot of new stuff here, just confirmations, because they are an initiator. They are a leader. And with Mars, it's like how you take action. What kind of strategy do you use? What kind of challenges are you facing? And they definitely like to face the challenge head on. They like to be the one that's confronting others. They like to be the one that leads the group. So that's why I said they might be like a boss or something, or like the head of a company or something. They have like their name or their face is like really important. And they were a born leader because they lead themselves through life. They lead themselves through everything. And that's really, really apparent with these cards as well. Also, once again, I'm getting this person is so direct, and they don't even mean to be offensive, but sometimes they are because they don't watch what they say and they don't realize that it could be offensive to some people. But I guess they don't really mean it a lot of the times. Also, they could be so direct, especially when you're getting to know them. They ask you like these upfront questions and you're like, excuse me. But that's just like the kind of vibe I'm getting from this person, because they don't realize that not everyone is as open-minded and as like, not everyone's an open book like them, like they are. And lastly, we've got the sun in Gemini. So that could mean their literal sun sign. So their zodiac sign, as you know, it could be a Gemini, or maybe it could be an air sign. But, you know, as I said, this is not supposed to replicate their birth chart, so I wouldn't even count on it. But what that means is that they likely have a lot of Geminarian qualities, if you can say that. And what I'm getting is that they're naturally very inquisitive and curious. They want to get to know everything and everyone. And sometimes they can like invade people's private space, and that's what they don't realize because they're so upfront and so honest always and so curious. I mean, I truly believe that they are a good person at heart. Like they don't mean any harm in asking these questions and like being so honest. So yeah, I'm going to say that they are very social people. Like this is a very social person that we are talking about. They are very witty, and they're also still a child in a way because they're so fascinated. Like the simplest things can fascinate them, and different cultures can fascinate them like so much. And they like want to be a part of everything. Like they want to get the most out of life. That's what I'm getting. It's just a really big fascination with life, like a big kid at heart. And it's also with their sense of humor, I'm thinking that it's like kind of childish, like kind of silly type of humor that you're gonna be like, haha, not even funny. But like, you know, I'm getting such a specific vibe from this person, and all of what I just told you is who I think this person is going to embody, their personality, what it's like. And I hope that I was able to do a good job with that, and I hope that I was able to help you. So if this reading resonated, definitely let me know down below. Write me a comment, I'd love to read. And also don't forget to subscribe, because if you would like to know what this person looks like, where this person's from, what their name might be, and how you're going to meet them, what the love story's like. Subscribe to my channel because I'll be uploading those 3 videos next, and I cannot wait for you to see them. So with that being said, thank you so much for staying here with me up until this point, and I wanted to say thank you and goodbye. Have a good one. Hey there, and welcome to everyone who chose the last pile, number 4. So let us find out who you are meant to end up with and who you are going to marry. So these cards are going to represent their personality, who they are as a person, maybe what their values are. So let's have a look. We're going to start off with some tarot cards, and we've got the card of Justice, we've got the 5 of Wands, the 8 of Swords, and the Death card. This is a very, very interesting spread actually, because I'm getting a lot of information about their job, about their day-to-day life and what they do, because their career is such a big part of their life and takes up a lot of time. Okay, I'm going to explain more about that. First of all, if we look at the first card, we've got the card of Justice, and that just tells us that this person believes in karma, and they believe that everyone is going to get what they deserve. And I'm also going to go as far as saying that they studied the law very carefully, so they likely have studied the law in the past or something related to the law. And I'm also getting a couple options as to what their job is. First of all, I want to say that this person that you are going to marry deals with very, very difficult people and very difficult cases on a daily basis. So I'm thinking they could either be some sort of like psychiatrist or psychologist, therapist, or they could even work, hear me out, they could even work in prison. That's what I'm getting. And keep in mind, this is a general reading, so there's multiple options. And I am getting very, very specific here for a large audience that's listening in. But nonetheless, they could also be a police officer, some type of guard or bouncer, or a security member, okay? Because they are very, very, first of all, quick-witted. They are extremely smart. They are highly intellectual, and I feel like whatever they study that inside and out, and they are an expert when it comes to their niche, right? So yeah, I'm going to say this person either deals with, I'm thinking criminals, or they could even be a shrink is what I'm getting. But I feel like they know a lot about the human mind. So I don't know why I'm getting they've either studied or they just know a lot about human behavior, psychology, and also the law. All these things that are kind of coming together. Maybe it's all the same person, but maybe different things are going to apply to different people. I don't know. But this person definitely knows how humans think. They know a lot about, as I've just mentioned, the way they behave and the way they are structured. And I feel like this person can read you very well. They can read anyone very well, and they are very observing. So they might not say much at first because they are very, very careful with the words that they choose to use. And they are more of an observer because they always know what's going on without you having to tell them. They are extremely perceptive, let me tell you that. And I'm going to say they're not the most loudest person. They're not the most outgoing person. They're a little in the background. They're always like observing others, which is nothing bad because once you get to know them, there's a whole different side that comes out, and there's a whole different side that you're getting to know. I'm just like saying, because of their job, because of what they do on a daily basis, they're not the most social or the most revealing person in terms of they don't reveal too much of themselves because they're used to listening to other people's problems and like, you know, you get what I'm saying. They could also be a lawyer. I'm not sure if I've mentioned that before, but they deal a lot with other people's lives and they get sucked into other people's lives on a daily basis because there's also people coming to them, telling them, revealing information about their lives, and they're always just used to perceiving, if that makes sense. I'm also getting a lot of strength from this person, not necessarily physically. I mean, they could be very athletic, but what I'm getting mostly is a lot of mental strength. And they are very, very hard to break mentally because it's almost like nothing really offends them because they've just like gone through so much and they have like so many like barriers up there in their head. And I just think they really know who they are as a person. Nothing can really like shock them or put them down. Sometimes the downside of that is that they might not express their emotions as well as you would like them to. I do think that sometimes it could be kind of hard for them to really be very emotional or to be vulnerable, especially with showing their emotions. They're like not used to that. Oh, and one more thing about their job. This is also really, really important. They do a lot of night shifts and they're not in this regular 9 to 5 job at all because I feel like their working hours vary. They're very, very flexible and sometimes they work throughout the night and then they're home the entire day. And for some reason, I'm also getting like hospital now. They could work at the hospital. Okay, there's many, many different things that I'm thinking. But yeah, doctor, psychiatrist, shrink, psychologist, whatever. I've given you like many options, so pick and choose, I guess, or see whatever is going to resonate in the future. And they likely work on weekends as well. So depending on what kind of job you have, this is either going to be a difficulty or a blessing, because if you also have flexible working hours, then this is going to be very, very good. But if you're always free, let's say only free on the weekend, that could be a little bit of a problem because they tend to work on the weekend a lot and they also tend to work during nighttime a lot. But I mean, since you are getting married to this person, you're clearly figuring something out, so it can't be that bad actually. And this person has a big fascination with, how do I say this, like corruption, because they do believe that people are good at heart and they are so interested in finding out what does corrupt people, like why do they do bad things. And especially, I can't help but think that they deal with like psychopaths. I don't know, but they're always fascinated in understanding them as well. So I feel like they've done a lot of research and studying, and they have a lot of personal experience with those kind of people, because this person is ultimately like an optimist, and I feel like they're advocating for a better future as well, that because like they would love to see some change in society. They would love to see people do better. And I feel like they would be the type of person to encourage the bad guy to do better instead of just locking him up and torturing him. Because there's a lot of things that your person likes to preach, and they've likely gone through a difficult, I'm not even getting childhood for them, I'm getting they've gone through a difficult youth. Like they had some type of like breakdown in their youth, like when they were a teenager. It's either that they did drugs or that they got into the wrong friend group that encouraged your person to do a lot of bad stuff. But there's definitely a lot of things that they regret from those years. And at one moment they had like this big, huge realization, this wake up call. Whoa, this can't go on like that. I need to genuinely do better. And I feel like as soon as they had figured that out for themselves, they wanted to help other people as well, or they wanted to like warn others of some type of danger, because this person definitely got like on the wrong side, on the wrong track when they were a young adult. So they had this huge rebirth. It's like they are no longer the same person that they used to be. They are almost unrecognizable. Or maybe they used to be, I'm going to say guy, but like it applies to any gender. Like they used to be the bad guy and now they're like the good guy. And in terms of transformation, they've also gone through a huge transformation. And I am thinking, I'm pretty sure it is regarding their weight. They could have been overweight and they've lost a lot of weight, or they could have gained a lot of weight, depending on who it is. But what matters is that they have what is in their eyes the perfect body. Like they are very, very happy with their body now, and they never used to be happy with it because they were either in their eyes like they were too fat or too skinny or something like that. Like they were never really happy with their weight, so they got it all together and put in some effort, and yeah, they did end up being very, very ambitious, and they reached this type of goal that was a very personal goal for them. So if you look at, I'm just thinking a major sign for knowing that this is your person is the fact that when you look at their, I would say like teenage photos or maybe even childhood photos, they're pretty much unrecognizable, okay? Because they've undergone such a huge transformation mentally and physically because of the way they think and also because of the way they look. So yeah, what else can I say before we move on? I do want to say that this person is so good at conflict because they can resolve pretty much any issue, and they're usually like the person that helps other people resolve their issues, as I've told you before. Because that's what they're used to do regarding their job. They do that on a daily basis, and they deal with a lot of difficult people. Okay, but we know that by now, so let's move on to some Lenormand cards. All right, now we're going to continue with 3 Lenormand cards, and what I try to do is to find out more about their past, present, and future. So one card is going to represent the past, that is the fox. Then the present is represented by the rider, and the future is represented by the dog. So I'm definitely getting goosebumps with these 3 cards because they perfectly show their transformation. They perfectly illustrate how they went from the bad guy to being the good guy, as I've told you before. If you don't know Lenormand or Lenormand, I still have no idea how to pronounce it. No problem. The fox usually represents someone being very sneaky, being involved in trickery or theft or something like that. So that gives us a little more insight as to who this person that you're ending up with used to be. They used to be a very bad person, and they're not even going to hide the fact. Like they're not even going to try to hide it. They're going to be very open about it. Like when you ask them, why are you this way? They're going to tell you, well, I know better now because I had a really rough past, and I'm encouraging others to do better as well. So they're not even going to hide the fact that they were a bad person. Maybe I don't know why I'm getting prison with this person. Maybe they were in jail at one point, or maybe they work there now. I don't know, but like I keep getting something about jail. I don't know. But they could have been, I don't even know what they did exactly, but they did some nasty stuff when they were a teenager. I'm getting also like drug abuse or theft. Okay. Yeah, but the fox just illustrates how much of a deceptive person they used to be, deceiving others, tricking others, and for his own or their own benefit. And then at one point, we're getting to the present, which is represented by number 1, new start. They had this moment of realization where they thought it cannot go on like that. And we have the rider for number 1, their present. So there's this big renewal of their personality because they completely reinvented themselves at one point. And this is like a sign, an omen of good news coming in. This is like, yeah, good stuff is finally starting to happen, and the number 1 always signifies a new start. So like in the present where they are, this new version of them has come alive and the old one is dead. Because also with the tarot cards, we got the death card. They're no longer the same person because a part of them has died. I feel like they've completely renewed themselves in some way. And with the future, we've got the dog. And what are dogs like? Think of the qualities that a dog has. Very loyal. They sort of like want to find their best friend. So I do think that they definitely do want to get married. And this is going to be great. And you don't even have to be concerned about the fact that I'm not mentioning a lot of love messages, because this reading is supposed to be about them, who they are as a person. I'm going to get into this whole love story in a different video, but don't worry, this video is going to focus on them solely. yeah, what are dogs like? They're very loyal, very humble, and they have good intentions, well, for most of the time. And I feel like this person genuinely wants to have a family. Like, I'm really feeling this. This person wants to have their own family, and you are going to have a family with them. So if you're not a family person, this is going to be a problem because they expect to have children. That's what I'm getting. And they want to, I don't know why, but they really want, I think they really want a boy. But I mean, it's just a preference, but I'm really getting it's either that you are going to have a boy one day, a little boy, or that they really want a boy. I'm getting a lot of male energy here, a lot of masculine energy. But again, this is a general reading, doesn't have to resonate. I just like to put out all the messages that I'm getting. So yeah, I'm getting that. Yeah, you could have a baby boy one day with this person, okay? All right, now we're going to move on to the last part of the reading, and we're going to get into some astrology. All right, now on to the last part of this reading. We've got these 8 different zodiac cards, oracle cards, 4 planets and 4 zodiac signs. And I do want to say this is not meant to be an exact replica of their birth chart, but it's more about the energies and the messages themselves. What does it mean when a certain planet is in a certain sign? Okay, what characteristics is that person going to have likely? So that's what we're going to focus on, and let's see what kind of pairings we've got for your group. First of all, we've got the Venus in Virgo. That tells us a little more about how they love and what kind of a lover they are. Then we've got the Saturn in Libra, Mercury in Cancer, and finally Sun in Leo, which could indicate that they're a Leo for their sun sign, but they don't have to be. So what I'm getting right away is this person's love or attention to detail, especially when it comes to them being a lover and how they express their love, because they are going to show you how much they love you by random acts of kindness, because for them it's like the little things that matter, because it might just be like buying you flowers one day and just taking you out. It's like little things because they always pay attention to detail, and I'm getting that they love the natural you, they love the pure you, like you in your purest form, and they love small, tiny little things about you, like a mole or a scar or something like that, I don't know, but things that you thought weren't lovable, all these things they fall in love with. And it's like they love that because it makes you you. And also personality-wise, whatever you might not be content with about yourself, they're going to fully embrace. And I feel like they are going to make you fall in love with yourself all over again. Although you do have self-love, like everyone should have self-love, but it's just, I feel like they make you feel more content with something about yourself, like them saying, hey, it's not even that bad, I love that about you, it makes you unique. It's like just a nice reassurance for you, and I feel like you start seeing yourself through their eyes at one point, and you're like, yeah, heck, it's awesome. So I'm also getting that this person might be very, very traditional, because if this is a heterosexual relationship, they like the man to go after the woman. And if they're the man, then they likely, I feel like they want to win you over at some point. Like they want to show you how good of a match they would be, and they want to impress you. So I would say they likely also make the first move. But yeah, if they're the woman, then they might actually expect you to do that. But yeah, only if there's like a man and a woman in this connection. So yeah, then otherwise just ignore that. And with the Saturn in Libra that talks about their values, that definitely tells me, I mean, they want to get married and they want to stay committed. It doesn't surprise me at all that this is the person that you're going to stay with forever, that you are going to grow old with, because they are so committed. because I'm not sure if they've been married before, but that marriage, they want it to last forever. They are not looking to at one point start back at square one, because they want to build with you. They want to like grow with you. They want to create something together. They want to create a life together. They have very, very strong values. They like balance, because Libra and Saturn, they love having that kind of security, that kind of balance. So I would say that they might not be much of a risk taker when it comes to relationship either. So I would say, especially like that getting to know phase, they're not going to chase you. I mean, they do want to impress you, but they do understand signals. Like if they're feeling like you're not interested, like if there's not anything that you're showing to them, I feel like they could at one point just leave you at that, because if they don't get something back from someone, they don't even feed into it. So there has to be some sort of like a mutual attraction and a mutual communication, a mutual interest in this connection, because they love everything for everything to be balanced, and they do not like making a fool of themselves with them. They're not going to be a person to text you like a million times. Like if you're not texting back the first time, if you leave them on read, it's done for them. It's done and dealt with. Like they're not going to bother and try again. So yeah, just what I've been talking about. They like everything to be very balanced and very mutual. They definitely want a family. They definitely want a life partner. And they don't just want a summer fling or something like that. They don't want an affair. They don't want a little love story. They want a whole love life. They want a whole fulfilling life, okay, that can be created with someone else. Yeah, you get what I'm saying? And with the Mercury in Cancer, that tells us a little more about how they communicate. And I'm thinking that they're going to be like extra sweet when it comes to you. They're usually like very, very harsh and very, very, as I said, like quick-witted, because they have to be honest. There's no room for emotions in their job. But like when you get to know them, they show you this whole another emotional side of them, and they show you their vulnerable, their sensitive side, because they actually do have a very, very sensitive side. It's just that they don't get to show it off because they're not allowed to, because they're not allowed to show any emotions. That's what I'm getting in their day-to-day life. So I feel like they're gonna like put all the emotion on you, and you're going to experience all their emotions. They're going to tell you, because I mean, they do want to find their soulmate, so they're always going to tell you what's up, and I feel like you're going to be their shoulder to cry on, especially if they have no one else to cry in front of, and you're going to be the person, the first one that like gets the good news from them. It's like all kind of emotions that this person wants to share, because at one point everything's just collecting inside of them, and then at one point like the pot explodes, you know what I'm saying? And you're going to be the person to like listen to that a lot of the times. And also you're going to have to listen to them complain as well. Like you're just like, they're going to be their go-to person to like tell you everything about what's been going on. So what's really, really good and interesting about it is that you're always caught up with their life. Like they always love talking about what's going on in their life, and it's almost like you're with them at work or something, because they always tell you what's going on, and yeah, they're always super passionate about it as well. So that's really, really cool. And last but not least, we've got the card of Leo, Sun in Leo. So as I've mentioned before, their sun could be in Leo, but it doesn't have to be. It could simply just mean that they have a lot of Leo-like qualities to them. I would say they have this natural born confidence that they just exude, because they could pretty much deal with any type of person, no matter how difficult they are, and they've done it all before. And I feel like in a lot of situations, the spotlight is just on them. Like they don't have to do much to stand out, because they have this natural, unique aura that they pretty much were born with, again. And think of any other qualities that a lot of Leos have, they likely do embody that. Your spouse likely embodies that. I'm just thinking this is a very ambitious person that certainly believes in their own power, and if they set their mind to something, they almost always get it, or they get away with a lot of stuff. They might be extremely pretty or handsome. They might have a lot of pride, I'm thinking. They could be not a patriot, but they could be very proud of where they come from or what their roots are, or they could be proud of who they are, okay? They could be very proud person in general, proud of their accomplishments and proud of what they have accomplished. I mean, they've certainly done a lot. As I've told you, they've gone through this huge transformation. So that is certainly something that they are super proud of, and they're allowed to be super proud of, obviously. Okay, so that's pretty much all I've got for you guys. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that this was helpful and interesting to you to listen to. And if it was, let me know down below. I'd love to read some comments. I'd love to read your responses. And if you're interested in more parts of this series, if you'd like to know what your spouse looks like and where they're from or what their name is and what your entire love story will be like, subscribe to my YouTube channel for free, because I'll be uploading those 3 videos next, and I cannot wait for you guys to see them. This is a series that I've been planning for so long, and I really wanted to make sure to include all of your guys' wishes. So we're gonna get to it, okay? Thank you so much, guys, for staying here with me up until this point. You're amazing, and you're amazing as a community. I love you so much, and I couldn't do this without you guys. So thank you, and have a good one.